This prison had an incredibly strange incident. During roll call one morning in 1966, prisoner number 37927, Andy Dufresne, never answered. The angry guard stormed over to his cell, shouting, "You better be sick or dead in there." But 2 seconds later, his face went white. A man who had spent 19 long years locked away had vanished from a cell that was supposed to be impossible to break. When and how did Andy Dufresne escape from prison? It all started 19 years earlier, in 1947. Shawshank State Penitentiary got a fresh busload of new fish. Us old-timers were buzzing like kids on Christmas morning. New toys had arrived. We always bet cigarettes on which one would break first and cry for his mama. Most folks picked the big, scared fat guy. Me? I put 10 cigarettes on the quiet, tall, skinny banker in the crowd, Andy Dufresne. Something in his eyes told me he wouldn't crack easy. The heavy steel doors slammed shut. That first night, the teasing started. The fat guy, poor fat ass, couldn't hold it together. He started sobbing for home. Someone won the bet. Then the noise brought Hadley running. He warned him once. Fat ass kept crying louder. Hadley dragged him out, beat him senseless with his baton, and left him bleeding in the yard. Next morning we heard he died in the infirmary. Hadley busted his head, somebody whispered. When I asked Andy later what the dead man's name was, he looked surprised anyone cared. That was the first time I really noticed him. Andy kept to himself at first. A month passed before he walked up to me in the yard. "I hear you're the man who can get things," he said, calm as a Sunday drive. He wanted a rock hammer small for carving stones as a hobby. I smiled. "You planning to tunnel out?" He just laughed softly. When I finally slipped him that little hammer, I figured it was harmless. "Take 600 years to dig through these walls with that," I told him. But Andy just thanked me and walked away. Something in his quiet smile made me wonder. For the next 2 years, life was hard on him. His face stayed bruised, his eyes sad. The sisters, a gang of mean prisoners, had their eyes on him. Every time he fought back, they beat him worse. Until one day the prison roof needed patching. I pulled some strings, got a dozen of us the job for a pack of smokes each. Andy ended up on that crew too. Up on the roof, Captain Hadley was griping about a big inheritance his brother left him. Taxes were going to eat it alive. Andy, the banker, stepped close. "Do you trust your wife?" Hadley nearly threw him off the edge. But Andy kept talking calm. "If you do, gift the money to her. One-time tax-free gift up to 60,000. You keep every cent." Hadley listened. Andy's only ask? 3 beers each for my friends when it's done. That afternoon, 12 of us sat on that hot roof, drinking ice-cold beer under the sun, feeling like free men for 10 beautiful minutes. Captain Hadley himself handed out the bottles. And Andy? He just smiled that strange little smile, watching us. From that day on, the whole yard knew Andy Dufresne was different. I gave him a big Rita Hayworth poster as thanks. That poster would become part of something huge. The sisters came for him again. This time, Andy fought like a wildcat. He ended up in the infirmary for a month. But for their leader, Boggs, Captain Hadley beat him senseless with his baton, got his spine shattered. The sisters never touched Andy again. Warden Norton soon spotted Andy's brain. He moved him from laundry to the library, easy work, plenty of time. But the real reason, Andy became the prison's free money man. Guards lined up for tax help, investment advice, even the warden. Andy asked for money to expand the library. Norton said no, only 3 things prison money buys: fences, cells, guards. So Andy started writing 1 letter a week to the state senate. Year after year, they finally sent $200 and some used books, hoping he'd quit. Andy just smiled and said, "Now I'll write 2 letters a week." Old Brooks, the librarian who'd been here 50 years, got parole. But the poor man snapped. He held a knife to another inmate just to stay inside. We talked him down. "Isn't freedom good?" Andy asked me later. I told him the truth. He's institutionalized. These walls get inside you. First you hate them, then you get used to them, then you depend on them. That's what prison does. Brooks walked out free and terrified. Cars everywhere, noise, loneliness. He lasted 3 days. One night he carved. Brooks was here on a beam and hanged himself. We all felt it. Andy kept writing. 6 years later, the state gave $500 a year for the library. He turned it into the best one in New England. Meanwhile, Norton started a big prison labor program, cheap workers for local jobs, and made dirty money. Andy handled the books, laundering, clean through stocks and a fake name he invented. Randall Stevens. A man who only existed on paper. Then a young hotshot named Tommy Williams rolled in. Friendly kid, full of stories. One night he told me about a cellmate in another prison who bragged about killing a banker's wife and her lover. Exact same details as Andy's case. Tommy ran to Andy. Andy ran to the warden begging to reopen his trial. Norton refused. He was scared Andy would talk about the dirty money. Norton called Tommy outside one night for a chat. "You sure about what you told Andy?" Tommy said yes. A guard in the tower shot him dead. Attempted escape, they called it. Andy shut down. Wouldn't help with the books anymore. Norton threw him in solitary for a month. When he came out, I begged him to let it go. Andy looked at me with those steady eyes and said, "I've been here 19 years. If I ever get out, I'm going to Zihuatanejo. Little hotel by the ocean. Fix up an old boat, take people fishing. Blue water, warm sand." I told him to stop dreaming. He just smiled and said the words that still echo in my head. "Get busy living, or get busy dying." Before he walked away, he told me something strange. "If you ever get paroled, go to the hayfield north of Buxton. Big oak. Tree by a stone wall. Under a black volcanic rock, you'll find something I left." His voice sounded like goodbye. Later I heard he'd asked another inmate for rope. My stomach turned. I lay awake that night, terrified he'd end up like Brooks. Next morning, roll call. No Andy. The guard opened the cell and screamed. The poster was still up, but behind it, a hole. The warden came raging in, grabbed a rock off the sill and smashed it into the rock disappeared. The poster came down. There it was, the tunnel Andy had dug night after night for 19 years. Every morning he'd scatter the dust in the yard while we walked. That tiny rock hammer had done what no one thought possible. That storm night, while thunder covered the noise, Andy crawled through his tunnel, smashed open the sewer pipe, and slid 500 yards through filth. He came out in the river, rain washing him clean. He stood there, arms wide, breathing free air for the first time in 19 years. A few days later, a man named Randall Stevens walked into banks across Maine. He had perfect papers, perfect signature. He emptied every account Norton had filled. Then he mailed a thick package to the Portland newspaper. Every dirty ledger page, every bribe, every lie. Next morning the scandal was front-page news. Police swarmed Shawshank. They dragged Hadley away in cuffs. Norton opened his safe to burn the evidence and found only Andy's Bible with a note. "Salvation lies within." Inside was a little carved chess piece and a message. Norton knew he was finished. He loaded his revolver and pulled the trigger. Time passed. I got a postcard from Andy, postmarked from Texas, heading south. He was free. I smiled so hard my face hurt, but the prison felt emptier without him. Years later, my third parole hearing came. Same questions. This time I told the truth from my heart. I regret what I did. Every day. That young fool who killed his wife is gone. Only this old man is left. They stamped approved. I walked out the same gate Brooks had. Same bus. Same room. I carved my name on the beam, just like him. I almost raised my hand to ask permission to piss. But I fought it. Then I remembered Andy's words. I hitchhiked to Buxton, found the oak tree, moved the black rock. And there it was. Money. And a letter. "Dear Red, if you're reading this, you got out. Maybe you're ready for one more adventure. Remember the place? Zihuatanejo. Need a man who knows how to get things. The plan is ready. Hope is a good thing may be the best of things and no good thing ever dies. I'll be waiting. Those words hit me like sunlight after 40 years of darkness. I broke parole, crossed the border, followed the letter, south. A few days later I stood on a warm Mexican beach. Blue sky, bluer ocean, gentle waves. And there, fixing an old boat on the sand, was Andy Dufresne. Two old friends, finally free, hugged like brothers. Andy never let the walls win. He kept hope alive when everything said give up. He didn't just break out of Shawshank, he broke out of the cage inside his own mind. That's why the story still moves people all over the world. It reminds us, no matter how dark the cell, hope can carve a tunnel to light. Today's story ends here. Thank you for watching this film summary. What do you think of this movie? Please comment below. I'd love to hear.